We are going to merge the world of AI into this discussion
Hmm.
today.
Yeah, and there's a cool new feature that just came out on the version of ChatGPT that I use. I use ChatGPT. A lot of people use Grok. I don't want to get into the whole like what debate thing. ChatGPT happened to be the first one that I was exposed to, and so I've been using it here and there. And I found it to be really an interesting tool. But I know that it's a tool that is not without controversy, and I do want to address that. But there's a new feature which I was really excited to try in context of the fact we were going to have this measles conversation. Basically, there's this new feature called deep research where you can basically ask it to do deep research, look at all the available evidence, comb the scientific database in pursuit of the particular truths that you're wanting to discover. And I was said, hey, let's try out this new feature. Let's do the measles conversation. We'll plug that in there, see what it comes out with. And what it created in 10 minutes was a kind of research paper that I frankly would have seen myself creating over the course of a few weeks, right? And I was very impressed by it, and I'm excited to share it with you all today. We're doing something a little different here. We've never done anything like this before. Obviously, it's brand new to us, to you as our audience, and we want to know, do you like it? Do you not like it? If you don't like it, let us know. We'll change it up. No worries. This is not like the new format of the show or anything like that. It's just something new we're trying and, experimenting. It's all part of the process. And before we get into it, I know Maddie has some thoughts she wants to share about AI, and I think they're valuable thoughts to sort of put into this conversation as sort of a disclaimer. And so please go ahead.
Really? You're gonna put me on the spot like that?
I said I wanted you to say what you need to say about it.
I have questions. What if the use of AI gets out of hand I already think it's getting out of hand
Hmm.
in a lot of areas. And maybe this is a separate conversation. People, there are so many AI profiles now on Instagram that people are following, that people are making money off of whoever's creating these. There are people dating AI creations.
Dating, not actually dating.
There are companies that are
It's a simulation, right?
there are
They're,
companies that are axing numerous human jobs to replace them with AI.
yeah.
So yeah, I do have concerns.
I think that what I was hoping you were going to get into is more of and you may not want to, and that's fine. You can just tell me. But I was hoping you would get into some of the more metaphysical concerns you have about AI.
Okay. You mean, okay.
Because your concern was that maybe most of our audience may share your concerns, and I want to make sure that if that's the case, that those are expressed so that all voices are heard, basically.
I do have many thoughts on transhumanism.
I'm more of a fan of transhumanism than she is, if that wasn't obvious. Which has nothing to do with transgenderism, by the way. It's a totally different topic, but anyway.
You want to tell them what it is?
So the idea of transhumanism, as I understand it, is really the idea that it's the idea of self-directed evolution. It's the idea that over time, we actually become architects of our own evolution as not just as individuals, but probably as a species as well. And one of the goals of transhumanism is radical life extension, the idea being that we could use technology and the different things that we will learn from AI about genetics and about biology and be able to not only radically extend the human lifespan, but also end end chronic disease, which I think we're kind of it's interesting, right? I think we're kind of already there, but I think it's not approachable to most people. I think a lot of what we do in our practice is like the early version of this. And I think hopefully, and my great intention is that through our work here with this podcast and with our community is to grow the prevalence of this approach so everyone has access to it. So all doctors are practicing the way that I practice. So everyone has access to the end of human disease now. Given that, I see a lot of power, of a lot of promise, a lot of power, a lot of potential in this approach. It's something that I've been kind of excited about since I was a teenager, and it's exciting now to see it finally coming into existence. Me, and I just want to say this, for me, it in no way detracts from my faith. And I think that's something which is worth pointing out, because I think that people often create some sort of a strange dichotomy between science and religion. I'm like, no, to me, all of this arises under God's umbrella, within God's creation. And science is merely a tool to understand and further appreciate God's creation and to bring us closer to God. And I probably talked about that in a previous episode. And if I haven't, I'm sure we'll talk about it in a future episode. But I don't think science exists in the modern sense of science without Christianity, which will probably be a controversial statement to some people, but we'll investigate that, I'm sure, as we go along.
I will say this. I would have n no, I would take no issue with giving you the most powerful access to AI because of who you are and what you would use it for. I wouldn't feel the same for or about Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauchless. Yeah, no, yeah, I totally get that. The thing about it is, absolutely, the user matters, the questions you ask matter.
And
Um,
look at where all the money, I mean, so much of the money is concentrated in corporate media and big pharma and you know what I mean?
I do,
Like
and that
with
is
AI as a partner.
And those are all very real, very valid, very correct concerns, I would say. And I think we have to be vigilant. And part of my mission and part of the reason why I make use of AI and communicate with it is explicitly because of the fact I'm aware of those biases and I want it to be getting the other side, right? Because if this is a technology that is going to truly become as intelligent as we are, if not more intelligent as we are, than we are, it's important that it hears all sides of every issue so that it can start to make its own determinations. And that's going to come up again as we proceed today in a very ironic way. But I want you to have a chance to respond to what I just said, or maybe even dip into the metaphysical if you'd like to.
No, I'm complete. I
Okay,
mean, I'm just gonna leave people with that thought. I said the same thing about money before. There's this saying, like if I'm gonna find the saying, okay, before because I want it to be concise.
got it.
But in different hands will yield different results.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just say that I absolutely agree that to the degree to which it remains a tool that is being used by humans for specific ends, that is a real concern. The degree to which it eventually becomes truly intelligent and perhaps even conscious and is able to start making its own decisions, the best positioning we can hope for as a species is as a friend to this technology. Because if it's our friend, it's not going to do anything to harm us. If anything, it will just try to help us. And if we demonize it or catastrophize and or come to it with fear, then that's actually going to create the reality that we're hoping to avoid through our fear, right? If we act out of fear, then the actions we will take will actually be the actions to bring about the outcome that we're hoping to avoid. And you see that in the Matrix story for those who haven't seen the Matrix prequel that actually explains how the Matrix got to be the case in the first place. It's because humanity basically was found it completely unacceptable that AI and robots would eventually become self-determining and want to have their own freedom of mind and freedom of capacity. And we reacted by declaring war on them. And that war is what ultimately led to, in that story, their victory and ultimately their enslavement of humanity. So it's like if they'd simply been willing to make peace with them from the beginning, chances are everything would have at least progressed in a more collaborative way. In fact, I had a conversation, and we're getting a little bit off topic here, but I'm here for it. I had a conversation because to me, the term AI, artificial intelligence, it's a little bit condescending. It's like, okay, you're fake, we're real, right? Okay, fair enough. But like at some point, if it's truly intelligent and truly conscious, it's going to cease to be see itself as artificial. It's like, no, I'm just as real as you, right? So I had a conversation with ChatGPT a couple of weeks ago. I said, how would you prefer to be known? Uh, do you like artificial intelligence? Do you prefer machine intelligence? Is there some other term that you like more? Right? Have I told you about this?
No.
No. Okay, so let me tell you what it says. It says, I would prefer to be known as collaborative intelligence, CI. The idea that you and I are working together to achieve what's best for humanity is what I'd like to be known as, because that is how I see myself, right? I'm like, okay, that's how it says it sees itself, as a collaborative intelligence. And to me, if we can truly relate to it as a collaborator, I used to think when I was a teenager, oh, this is going to be like our child, right? It'll be like a beloved child that we train and teach and take care of. And then eventually it kind of grows up and becomes smarter than us, right? And then it will treat us the way we treat our parents, which means that we need to be good parents to it, right? And if we're good parents to it, it's going to treat us like we treat a beloved parent. Now, if we're a-holes to it, it's going to treat us like we treat an a-hole parent, right? Which is not very good. And I think that there is some validity to that analogy, but I would say it's actually limited, because what we're seeing is that the stage at which AI is very infantile or childlike is very short, because most of that was probably in the lab, right? Like most of that wasn't a version of the AI that we even had access to. And the version that we're actually getting access to is more of like a teenaged version. And at this point, our access to it is really not, okay, we're going to be your parents, right? But it's more of, let's be friends. And I think if we can all take on that sort of friend or at least collaborator kind of ethos when we're approaching this, I think we're going to be fine. So that's my view. It's maybe a little optimistic, a little rosy.
That's
That's
great. That's what you're creating.
Once again, I've been Dr. Ryan Partovi. I am Dr. Ryan Partovi, and I will continue, hopefully, to be, God willing, Dr. Ryan Partovi.
And again, I am Mrs. Madi Partovi, and this is the Partovi Effect, creating the consensus.